It's a good day at Day One Camouflage. Phil Yee here, CEO, and today we're going to bring you American-made boot care for American boots. Before I begin, I got some feedback from a friend of mine that I should explain a little bit as to why we do this stuff. And I wanted to just explain it's really boils down to two beliefs. I think the first is I'm a big believer in this country. And, my journey as a South Korean immigrant kid who became a naturalized citizen and was able to serve in the U.S. Navy, and now as a father and a business person, I'm just a big believer in the values of this country, and I think it's worth celebrating. The second, it's a little bit more specific, which is it's really hard to find and discover good American-made gear. And so we thought bringing this stuff to you might be something that's worthwhile. All right, enough soapboxing. As I said, we're going to do American-made boot care as we go into the fall hunting season. One of my favorite and most therapeutic activities is to take care of my gear. And today we're going to do boots. Now, boot care is essentially shoe care. And everything that I know about shoe care, I learned from two places. One is the U.S. Navy, and the second is KIRBY Allison. And it just so happens that KIRBY Allison is in the house with us today. As a matter of fact, I'm actually at his headquarters filming this. So KIRBY, I wanted to welcome you to the Made in America corner of the internet.
Yep, happy to be here, and I think that you articulated those virtues of Made in America really well. Of course, I'm a proud American. My brother served in the Navy as well.
Indeed, he did, yeah.
And I think it's important to support Made in America. Just like it's important to support traditional craft, which is what we do here at KIRBY Allison.
Totally.
And I think that, unfortunately, it is a segment of the U.S. economy that's, I think been on the decline and deserves to be championed and celebrated. And so I'm excited to be here helping you with that and talking a little bit about another segment that we probably don't touch on often here at KIRBY Allison, which is, boots and specifically outdoor boots.
Yeah, excellent. Well, I'm going to brag on KIRBY a little bit here because I'm a big fan of his channel. I'm a big cigar smoker, and I love the values that he stands for. But as I was doing some research on probably getting this thing together, KIRBY has quite the following. And I think that what's interesting about our channel that we're starting to develop a community around, his values, quality, craftsmanship, and tradition.
And tradition.
Those are values I think that are very parallel to the Made in America set of values. And so I thought there was a ton of overlap. Plus, KIRBY, you have over 800,000 subscribers that I looked it up. It puts you at 1/10 of 1% on YouTube. So congratulations to you.
Thank you.
I'm super excited to be here to really learn from you and have our audience learn what you have to know about shoe care.
Yeah, I think there's no greater virtue than, and thank you for that, Fly. I didn't even know that.
No,
so
1/10 of 1%,
I'm going to
man.
use that now.
Use it.
It's been a long journey, as they say, and I'm sure as you can probably relate to yourself. It's been an overnight success.
Yes,
right?
that's right.
And I say that tongue in cheek as a joke because anyone that's grown a business, knows that there's no such thing as overnight success.
For sure.
It's taken a long time, and it's been a privilege to meet great people along this journey. And I think that our friendship, has been one of those great gems to kind of come out of the YouTube channel. Of course, our children are in school together, but had it not been for that shared interest in, kind of the virtues of the bygone era, we probably never, and cigars, which
cigars.
Forgive me for smoking in front of you, but I'm taking this liberty.
I'm going to smoke one too in a little bit.
But we probably never would have, become as good of friends as we are.
I totally agree.
So, and that's one of the great things about enthusiast communities is that, a good friend of mine, once shared a quote that has really stuck with me, and that is that the greatest luxury in life is sharing one's passions with others. And so what I found through the channel, and this is a great example of that, is that whenever you meet someone that shares your passions, you could be from completely different walks of life,
Totally.
but still really get along and develop a deep friendship. And I think within the hunting community, within the Made in America, within kind of the broader context of craft and menswear, cigars especially,
For sure.
that there's an absolute truth to that.
Yeah.
And
Well, I'm a living example of it because, if anyone that looks at me and doesn't know me, the last thing they think is hunter who loves made in America stuff, right? Just let's be honest. But, the community has embraced me with open arms. I mean, the comments and feedback that I'm getting has just been wonderful and warm, and it's totally a testament to what you're saying.
Yeah. And one of the things that I would just add to the introduction that I think is important, what we're doing here today, which is boot care, is that, with Made in America and with anything that is craft oriented, there's a premium for that, right? In this era, you're paying more for Made in America. You're paying more for anything that's well made. It's just the realities of it. But you can justify that investment if you take care of what it is that you're purchasing.
For sure.
And, most things that are made in America and things that are made well have an inherent and an intrinsic durability to it that allows them to last longer, with the one caveat that they're cared for properly.
Yeah, and I think footwear is probably the ultimate example of that for men. Whether it's well-made dress shoes or really high-end, outdoor and hunting boots. Sometimes the cost of those things will make you think twice. But if you do it from a cost per wear or cost per use perspective, assuming you take good care of them, it all kind of checks out.
Yeah, and that's the part of the mental gymnastics of men that I enjoy. It's like, once you start thinking cost per wear, you're like, it's actually worth it. But the reality is that it is. And I find my personal experience has been that, whenever I invest in something that's well made, right, and I'm taking care of it, you actually develop a relationship with that product over time.
For sure.
That you're not able to do with something that is just disposable. And, like an old worn pair of boots, like the boots I see right here, aren't new. And
Far from it.
And someone could be like, oh, why don't you just buy a new pair of boots? But you have memories now.
That's
with these
right.
boots.
That's right.
And all those scuffs and scratches and the patina of life is what makes those boots special.
Yep.
And again, I think that it's one of those great virtues that men don't speak enough about.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, it's clearly resonating with folks, just given your follower count.
Yeah.
And again, I think as we grow our little channel here, I think very similarly, the same kind of folks what we're doing is resonating with them too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I appreciate what you're doing. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. Can't wait. Well,
So talk us through what
let's
we've got.
let's start with the actual stuff that we use and the shoes that we're going to shine, or not shine, but condition. Yeah. So I'll go kind of my right to left here, and would love to know what you've got on the table as well, because I know that you're an expert in this. We're going to take care of 2 pairs of boots today. I'm going to take care of my Chippewa snake boots here. These are made in USA. They're very old. I don't think they make this model in the US anymore, unfortunately. But as you can see, they are beat up, and I haven't taken care of them since I wore them on my last dove hunt last year in September. So it's been a minute. And they deserve it and need it. The other pair are a pair of Russell Moccasin custom Zephyrs that I had them make for me. We put this really excellent, looks like 1/2-inch grid ripstop here as the upper. And then we added side tabs and zippers on the back, just because I find it hard to get my foot into a regular pair of Zephyrs without the zipper. So these are excellent, made in America as well. The gear that I like to use, at least for outdoor boots, I think for my dress shoes, I definitely defer more to the stuff that Kirby has. But for outdoor boots, it really boils down to a few pieces here. One is this stuff called Obanoff's LP. This is a beeswax-based conditioner and protectant. This company's out of Idaho. They're very famous among the wildland firefighter set. A lot of wildland firefighters use this stuff to protect their boots in pretty extreme conditions. And I found that, much like Saphir Renovateur, which can do so many things, Obanoff's LP covers certainly the conditioning and the protecting side for outdoor boots. Uh, you need a cotton rag to wipe off and clean your boot. Cotton rags are tough to find, made in USA. I use old T-shirts,
Yeah.
but I did find that Red Wing has this kind of felted cotton rag, and it is made in USA. So good on them for making that. I wanted to share that with you. And then brushes, right? When it comes to dress shoes, I'll use brushes to kind of bring a polish, obviously, to the shoe. But when it comes to outdoor boots, I find that I use brushes to really kind of clean all the dirt and grime off of the boot. And I will say this: this is a Red Wing brush that is made in USA. It's 100% pure horsehair. But I think there's something that you guys have to know about brushes. If you just go out and buy this brush, for example, I don't think it's stiff enough. It's a little too soft to really get the dirt off. And so a lot of times I will defer to Kirby's 100% pig bristle brush here, which is that pig bristle is just a lot harder, right? And so it's closer to like a scrub brush, which is really what I'm looking for.
Yeah, the pig bristle is fantastic for when you need a stiffer brush, right? So cleaning something like a pair of boots, but also hatch grain, anything that has texture.
Yeah.
You really want something that's stiffer, and you've got to take the excess polish off after you apply it, and that's really what a brush is for. So you can get a nice soft shine, with a horsehair brush.
Yeah.
But for like what we're going to be doing today, which is conditioning an outdoor boot, and you have an inherently much thicker polish or cream that you're going to be applying to the shoe itself. You want something that's stiffer to be able to kind of pull that excess off. And so that's great. We've got another brush that is our, I call it my suede cleaning brush, but it's basically pig bristle, but with a shorter cut length.
Yeah.
So it's even stiffer.
Yeah, that's what
this,
I need.
This right here.
Yeah, that's definitely what I need.
This is great for like a hatch grain dress shoe.
Yeah.
This is great for suede, of course. That's what we have it named after. But something like this, it's still fantastic.
That's the perfect
And
brush.
you can feel how much stiffer that is just by a shorter cut length of the bristle itself.
Yeah, look at that. Like by having that cut length difference, it just feels a lot stiffer. And I need to buy this brush because it's the one I'm looking for.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's not made in America, but you support American families.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Which is.
But it's not made in China though either.
It's not made in
It's
China.
a quality product
Yeah.
made in Germany, right?
Yeah,
I think. Yeah.
I spent 2 years developing our collection of brushes and traveled to Germany several times, and it was interesting, like in so many ways, the gap in thoughtfulness within that product category.
Yeah.
And so we've got an entire collection of brushes that each have kind of a nuanced distinction and difference that can be used in different ways. And I think as one is developing, their accoutrement for taking care of their shoes, one of the great things, again, is the durability. I mean, you buy one brush, so long as you don't lose it.
That's right.
And you could use it for the rest of your life.
For
It's
sure.
well made.
Maybe there's a business in taking advantage of the feral pig problem in the United States,
Yeah.
right? And taking them down and then making pig bristle brushes here in the U.S. with it. It'd be fun.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
So what else you got?
Yeah. So, so kind of on top of what you've kind of added, boot care is different than shoe care.
For sure.
And, especially an outdoor boot versus a dress boot.
Yeah.
What we're doing today is we're not really, we're not polishing. We're not looking for a shine.
That's right.
And, one of the beauties of a great outdoor boot is the natural patina of that leather. And so you don't necessarily need to add pigment like you would with a dress shoe.
Yeah.
And so, all of our polishes that we have here are not pigmented. Because we don't need pigment. I mean, you could if you wanted to, but I think in some ways it would compromise that natural kind of color of the leather.
Yeah, it's not what I'm looking for.
But you do want something that's rich and it's going to condition, but also is going to waterproof. And that's where, that beeswax product you have there is great. Saphir has two products that's fantastic for this. One of them is their Dubbin, which is a vegetable kind of oil-based conditioner. It's very thick. We use this as part of our presidential shoe shine. I mean, it's a very rich conditioner, and you'd use it, maybe once a year for a pair of dress shoes to, really rehydrate that leather. But on a natural kind of oiled leather like this, it's going to condition, it's going to feed that leather, but it's also going to waterproof. And then we also have a 100% mink oil product, which, is really kind of the same but different. that achieves the same thing. It's going to condition, it's going to nourish that leather, it's going to help extend its longevity, prevent cracking, drying. But it's also going to really saturate those pores with those oils and help waterproof the boot. And so, again, you talk about made in America and hunting. I think there's a real virtue in natural materials.
Totally. Yeah.
And, you could use a waterproofing protectorant, but you would lose, that kind of the nuance of something done naturally. And so traditionally, I mean, oils, bear, what's it, bear oil?
Yeah. Oh yeah, bear grease.
Bear grease,
Yeah.
That's what you'd condition something
Yeah.
like this with. And so, there's natural, more kind of technical or sophisticated products, but, I really like whenever possible kind of going back to the simple ingredients.
Well, I'll add one practical benefit of that, which is on outdoor shoes and boots and hiking boots and hunting boots in particular. Like I'll show you an example. A lot of hiking boots and outdoor boots have a rubber rand on it, right, that you won't find on dress shoes. And this rubber rand is essentially glued to the leather. If you use petroleum-based oils or synthetics on this boot, what happens, and there's pictures all over the internet of guys who are just heartbroken because they did this. The oil, the petroleum-based oil, will eat away at the glue and the rubber and delaminate this rand, which basically makes these boots useless, right? And so it's another benefit of using a natural product versus going the synthetic route.
That's a great point. I mean, the petroleum-based products will actually cause rubber to crack.
Yeah,
And it'll do the same for leather.
Yeah.
It's one of the worst things that you can apply. It's like whenever you go to the hotels and get the cheap little sponge.
Oh yeah,
that's like the
that
worst.
spongy thing.
It's basically just baby oil.
Yeah.
And to apply that onto your boot would be terrible.
I like the call out of baby oil. It's very relevant these days.
I know, that's right. I mean, it has its time and place, but not in shoe care.
Yeah.
And then the other product I have is just a simple, leather cleaning soap, right? So I'm going to use, we have actually another brush developed just for this, which is a extra large cleaning dauber, which has a larger head, right? You could use a brush, right? But I'm going to use something like this to kind of work it in and shampoo the leather because, it's an outdoor boot. It's going to get dirty. You want to remove all the surface grime before you then go and condition, because otherwise you're pushing all that into the leather. So you want to pull that off first and then condition.
So is it your strong recommendation then that you shampoo the boot every time you do like a hardcore restoration like this?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that, like what you said, the overall framework would be, clean it and then condition it. And here the conditioners that we're using are also going to waterproof.
Yeah.
Right? That could be an extra step, but here it doesn't need to be. I mean, with a boot like this where we have a canvas top, maybe I would spray something like the Super Invulner onto the the actual kind of fabric to help waterproof that.
Sure.
But really, I prefer not to use that on leather because in some ways it can suffocate the leather by kind of trapping and clogging up those pores.
That's and so and on boots that have a Gore-Tex or a waterproof lining, right? What makes them waterproof is actually a membrane.
Yeah.
And spraying certain chemicals on it actually suffocate that membrane, right?
Yeah.
So.
And again, I mean, this was how they did it in the old days. Nice grease, something that's really rich and oily. Water and oil repel.
Yeah.
And so if you have enough of it on there, it's waterproof.
Yeah, totally. Well, I got a couple other things I want to share with you that I use as gear. One is this tin. It's by Cambro. This is really used in professional kitchens, but I use it to store some of my stuff, and I also use it to store water when I'm washing this thing. But it's actually made in the USA, and I have several of these in my house. I use them for a variety of things. But this
Hard
is
to find these.
Yes, yeah. It's a good made in USA.
It's not Tupperware
piece of kit. The other is these cloths are great. Again, old T-shirts are great. But I did find a disposable, really durable white rag that's USA made. There's so many that are not, which probably makes sense given the cost of these things. But these are actually made in USA, professional white rags, right? I've actually bought this at Home Depot. It's called Toolbox. So I'll use it to kind of at the very last stage of cleaning off stuff. But, it's probably not durable enough to get soaked and then, really wash it down. But this was an American-made product. I wanted to feature it as well.
Yeah, and we've got shoe shine mats, which
that's right.
Got, some
yeah, so these are scrap leather pieces that I bought on Etsy of an American-made tannery. I think the holy grail would be if like Horween, which I think is the last remaining tannery in the United States,
interesting.
were to give us like, if they were to sell Chrome Excel or even some of the Cordovan stuff, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Coming soon to
Yes,
KIRBYALLISON.com.
that's right.
We've got a leather shoe shine carpet or mat that is made from a natural kind of leather that we have made for us. Unfortunately, the one guy I know here in the United States that could do it, Frank Clegg, is which Made in America bags, and I've got a beautiful overnight bag over there in the corner from them, is so busy making bags that they didn't want to entertain my idea of shoe shine mats. But we have them, and as I say to our customers that ask this question, is not Made in America, but you're supporting a small business.
That's right. That's close enough. All right. Well, we're gonna get to actually doing the shoes. And again, as Kirby said, and if you watch his shoe care content, it's really 3 steps, right? It's clean, it's condition, and then it's protect, right? And in the case of dress shoes, the protect piece is around, you could add pigmentation, obviously, as you discussed, but it's really around adding wax, which is not only for the aesthetics, but it actually protects the leather, right? Absolutely. In the case of an outdoor boot, clean, condition, protect. We're not going to shine them, as Kirby mentioned, but again, with these products, we are going to protect them with a natural waterproofing, material.
Which is an important distinction because a lot of people call us, maybe they've got a pair of Chrome XL boots, which is an oiled leather.
Yeah.
And to put wax on top of that leather really would change the texture of the leather itself.
Yeah.
And ruin it in many ways.
Yeah.
And so something like these boots, where you really want that natural kind of characteristic of the leather to show through, to put wax on top of it would change that. And so these products that we're using, although that's beeswax based, it still has enough oil in it where it's not going to shine.
Yeah.
Same thing with the mink oil and the dubbin. These 2 products don't have any waxes in it. It's just conditioning and protecting by virtue of the oil itself.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's take one shoe each. We'll leave one shoe regular, and we'll do one shoe, and then we'll do a side by side at the end to show you the before and after. But Kirby, walk us through your process, man. I can't.
So there's 2 ways to clean, right? And this goes back to kind of reading the leather. People often ask us like, what do I need to do? And do I need to do this every time? And it really depends on the leather itself, right? So, this boot's not that dirty, and so in the interest of time, I may not use a water-based cleaner because really you'd want that to dry before you then put something on top of it.
Sure.
And so just simply brushing the boot is going to get any of that surface dirt or anything off. Now, if the boot was muddy or really just needed it, then I would do it. But ideally, you would wait 24 hours before then putting anything on top of it. And you've got your nice little containers. I mean, normally, honestly, I just do this at a sink.
Yeah. Yeah. If we wanted any water,
and oftentimes,
I use it.
With a good high quality product, one of the things I tell people is that many times just brushing the shoe alone is enough to get into it.
Yeah.
Because a good high quality product is going to have enough residual, longevity to it that sometimes you just need to brush it.
I mean, this already looks better, I'm honest.
And this is where a stiff bristle, try that, right?
Yeah.
And that actually, you'll really see that the stiffer the bristle just does a better job cleaning.
Yeah, you got to go pig bristle for outdoor boots, I think.
Absolutely.
Versus horsehair.
And you can't find them. I mean, it's like, again, one of those things where, you go and try to find, high quality brushes, they just don't exist. And it's kind of part of the niche that I'm in is, going and finding those obscure products. And even like a horsehair brush, not all brushes are created equal. We use 100% tail hair.
Oh, really?
Which is the most flexible of the hairs of the horse versus the mane, which is on the back of the neck. And a lot of the shedding that you see in a brush is because they use main hair.
Main
It's
hair.
less expensive.
Interesting. Yeah, this already shed a little bit.
You know, I mean, at a certain point, like all the bristles break and then it stops shedding. But so I mean, you see right here, it's already kind of shiny.
Yeah,
to be
yeah,
honest.
yeah.
It probably is because it's got a little bit of that polish still on it.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's where investing in quality really does make a difference, because it just has more longevity to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually going to put the soap up, and then I will use, what do I use? I'm going to go with mink oil.
All right.
Why not? Go with the good stuff. The
I'm
mink
gonna-
oil's the expensive stuff.
I'm gonna now that mine is brushed off, I'm gonna do the Obenos here.
Yeah. You've got your Made in America, and you know,
Yeah.
you've got our Saphir.
You got your
yeah.
your high end stuff here. I like to use a glove for Obenos in particular, and the reason why is because a key part of how Obenos LP works is it's pretty solid in the jar, and it kind of turns into an oil with the warmth of your hand. Right, so when you put it in your hand and you start to apply it, it needs the warmth of your hand to kind of turn into an oil to get it to soak in.
Interesting.
I saw a video with Randy Newberg at Kennetrek doing this, and they were saying, hey, don't do the whole like bake your shoes at 200 degrees for 5 minutes. He's like, don't use heat at all.
Yeah.
Because that actually can ruin the rubber rand.
Yeah.
It can ruin the waterproof Gore-Tex liner. Yeah. So don't do that. Just good old-fashioned hand heat.
Good old-fashioned.
Yeah.
I'm using I like to apply my polish with the chamois.
Yeah.
Because I find I have more control. And again, in the application process, you know, you really want to put a little bit of, you know, elbow grease into it, so to say, to work it into the leather, right? So it's not just slapping it on. Like, you really want to work and massage it into the pores of the shoe. And especially here, kind of along the bottom, right, where the leather is meeting the welt. You know, this is an area that you really want to pay attention to in terms of waterproofing. And on a boot like yours that's actually welted, this is, you know, glued, is actually even putting it on top of the stitching.
The stitching here
helps waterproof the threads. Yeah, I mean, something like the Dubbin or the mink oil, which is the richest of all of the products that we sell here at Kirby Allison from Saphir. It'll always, I mean, even a pair of leather dress shoes, I mean, black you won't see it, but browns you will.
Yeah.
It darkens. A lot of customers call us in panic. And, you know, after a week, 2 weeks, it'll return to its original.
You tell them to just give it some time.
Yeah, give it some time. But again, you know, here, it speaks to the quality of the leather, how much it's darkening, because it is it's a full grain, open pore leather. It hasn't been, you know, treated. It's not a split, you know, where they take the leather and they cut it in half in order to increase the yield. And that's, you know, I think part of the kind of the research process whenever someone is looking at buying something is kind of understanding, you know, what separates a more expensive shoe from a less expensive one.
I think
And all those things, I mean, you know, what I find is even in the store sometimes, you know, the retail staff don't know, you know, all the things that go into a particular product to make it better, but thereby, you know, increase the price.
I think a lot of guys just, you know, there's so much to learn on that stuff, and I think a lot of companies take advantage of the fact that the average consumer just doesn't know.
Yeah.
Right? And so they'll use cheaper products to lower their costs and improve their profits, you know, without necessarily
And there's a lot of
exposing
misrepresentation.
Yeah.
Which is another thing that I think that may upset me the most. I mean, you really see it within menswear. You know, someone that thinks that they're going to walk into a store and get a bespoke garment, you know, for $800, it's impossible.
Right.
You know.
Right.
I mean, in some garments, I mean, the fabric alone could cost $800.
Yeah.
And here, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm actually going to unbuckle the strap.
Yeah, I
Right.
did that here as well.
You know, so that I can really condition the entire strap. And this is fun. I mean, I'm smoking a cigar. You know, forgive me for smoking in front of you, but you know, I think one of the things that I enjoy about shoe care is you can develop a little bit of a man ritual around
That's
it.
right.
You know, you do it on the weekend, light up
right.
a cigar, maybe drink a glass of bourbon.
That's right.
You can, you know, watch a game. You know, I even, you know, sometimes shine my shoes on conference calls, right?
Yeah.
Because, you know, you're on a conference call,
Yeah.
as well. And, you know, you talk about the Navy. I mean, a lot of our customers, certainly the ones that probably know the most about shining, they learned it in the military.
That's right. Yeah.
And, there's a great tradition there that, wasn't just about having a pair of parade shoes that were shiny,
Yeah.
but were also probably about just making sure that the one pair of boots you got,
Are well kept.
are well kept.
Yeah. It's interesting because I learned technique when I was in the Navy around shining shoes, but we used crappy products. We used Kiwi,
Yeah.
right, which is not a great product compared to the Saphir stuff.
And it's amazing, Kiwi. I mean, Kiwi was bought out by Procter and Gamble, and basically cut all their products. And I think now Kiwi, the only thing they sell is a wax shoe polish and brown and black. And whenever we started carrying Saphir shoe polish, which has a very large portfolio of very specialized shoe care products, I very quickly realized that at least here in America, we were going to sell shoe polish. We were going to have to educate our customers on how to use it.
Totally.
Because most Americans think that shoe care is simply a wax tin of Kiwi shoe polish.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I mean, it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
But if you, really want to take care of it, you need something more than that. Look at it.
Yeah, it looks great.
There's something satisfying about this.
Yes, and this boot, again, I've said this in previous videos, but what to me this boot's whole vibe is a gentlemanly quail hunt in the piney woods of South Georgia, and so to use a product like that, it all kind of
You don't want to go
marries
hunting in
together.
a pair of rubber boots.
No. I mean,
The accoutrement makes it better.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's half the fun.
And you don't have to be like, fancy about it.
No.
Which is one of the other things I love about hunting culture is that there is still a care for quality without, getting pretentious.
That's
about
right.
it or getting too caught up in it.
Yeah.
And we've had this conversation before about just that, I feel like the inherent performance characteristics of natural materials
Yes.
are now being, I think, revived.
They're coming back
And like a natural leather will outperform a synthetic
all day.
every day of the year.
All day.
It'll breathe. Like a lot of people talk about how shoes like dress shoes with rubber soles and cheap leather. It's like they're not comfortable. They make my feet sweat. They clam up at the end of the day. It has nothing to do about the fact that it's a shoe.
Right.
It's due to the fact that it was a shoe made with cheap material.
That's right.
And if you tied a a trash bag, I mean, if you used a trash bag as a sock, right?
I've actually done that before.
In certain circumstances, maybe it makes sense, but
Yeah.
Your foot is going to suffocate.
That's right.
Because you perspire a lot
Well,
through your
there's
foot.
here's a fun fact. There's a 500,000 pores on your feet,
Really?
right? And so what's interesting about Gore-Tex shoes, and I've got Gore-Tex boots. I'm sure everybody has Gore-Tex boots, right? And they're probably an industry standard. But I will say this, when it comes to other outdoor shoes that I've been looking for, I've been looking for the non-Gore-Tex version. And the reason why is because I find that I end up getting my feet soaked and my socks soaked from the inside out, right? The Gore-Tex liner just doesn't breathe the way that it needs to, right? When you're really active.
It's still not fully breathable.
Yeah, you end up getting soaked anyway. It's just not from the outside in, it's from the inside out.
Yeah. It's an interesting point, right? Because, again, in terms of the misrepresentation, I mean, Gore-Tex has done an amazing job marketing the material.
Unbelievable marketing.
But,
campaign.
I mean, if I'm going hunting or something, I mean, I just enjoy, I'll wear, or like skiing, right? Let's not use hunting as an example. I'll wear just a nice wool sweater as a base layer.
I actually wear an old cashmere sweater.
Yeah.
When I ski.
It's going to keep you warmer.
Yeah.
It's going to help you regulate your body temperature better. It's going to
Yep.
breathe. And, it's better than the performance fabrics. And the other thing is just the odor.
Yeah.
Right? Natural materials release odor,
Yeah.
whereas the synthetics cling onto it. And
Yeah.
it's, if you've ever been, doing anything in like a Patagonia, technical base layer, sometimes it'd be really difficult to get the odor out of it.
Yeah, well, the polypro base layers they're gnarly.
Yeah.
Right, after a few days out in the field.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Those look great.
Yeah. I mean, again, you could certainly waterproof this with like a spray.
Yeah.
If you wanted to. Actually, I use our spray we've got fabric umbrellas, right? Made in Italy. I'll use that to re-waterproof the canvas.
Mm-hmm.
But, again, I think the mink oil is going to outperform, certainly last longer than any type of aerosolized
Yeah.
protector.
I mean, I think if there's maybe one thing that you should take away from this video, it's like don't use the crappy stuff with the synthetic materials in it.
Yeah,
Right. Just
absolutely.
stick to stuff that has natural ingredients in it, because otherwise you're gonna really risk ruining the great materials that your stuff's made of.
Yeah, and you'll spend more, but I mean, a jar like this, I mean, it'll last you a long time.
Yeah. I mean, this is what
How long have you had that?
I've had this for years.
Years,
Yeah.
right?
And like I'm barely halfway through, right? And I've got several boots that I use this on every season.
Yeah,
$17 or something like that.
and it lasts longer on the shoe itself.
Right.
So like, not only does it last forever because you don't have to use that much, but you don't have to use as much because it can last longer.
Yeah.
And the Saphir shoe polish we sell, I mean, there's no question it's the most expensive on the market, but you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
And and especially if you take into consideration the fact that, I mean, how much does a pair of boots like this cost these days?
$200.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, same for these.
These are
you know,
more than that, but yeah.
the analogy is you don't take a nice car through a drive-through car wash,
Yeah.
and if you invest in nice products, you shouldn't use cheap products.
Well-
Even like in the layers, I mean, it's like oftentimes like I'll hang it to air dry
Yeah.
versus throwing it in the dryer, because
Totally.
that one thing can make such a big difference in terms of longevity.
Yeah.
You talked about the heat, the heat gun with the shoes. I mean, yes, it may open the pores and allow you to get more in, but it's going to dramatically shorten the life cycle because the heat is destructive.
Totally.
And on garments, it's the same thing.
Yeah. Tell me one thing. So you guys can see we've applied our products here to these boots, and they look a little oily and shiny.
Yeah.
Does that kind of bake off or come off after a certain amount of time? Because, like, I'll be honest, like, what I've found is with at least open offs, they look oily for a day.
Yeah.
Maybe less than a day. By the time I grab them for the field, they're just well conditioned and they have kind of a matte finish. Because, like, I don't know, maybe it's a little just not inappropriate,
Yeah.
but
This is a little too shiny.
yeah,
I mean, what I would recommend generally is, especially when you're using a deep conditioning product like what we have here,
yeah,
is allowing the product to sit overnight.
yeah,
And then, coming back that next day and buffing it, because you do want to take the excess off,
yeah,
but you want it to be able to dry and really, by drying, be absorbed into the shoe.
yeah, yeah,
Before you go and brush that off. And so, look, if
Yeah.
you're about to head off, right,
Yeah,
then
yeah,
just
yeah.
take them out the door.
yeah.
But if you have time,
Let them kind of chill.
don't rush the process.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Either
And they look better. And look
yeah.
how much better these be.
Immediately, they're
Yeah.
like they're way more matte.
I mean, one of the things I still, and I do this a lot, right? I've been doing it for a long time. I still find myself consistently surprised by how much better a pair of shoes looks after I finally take the time to shine them.
Yeah,
And sometimes I'll look at them and I'll be like, they're not that bad. I don't have time. I'm not going to do it. And then finally I break down and shine the shoes. And it's amazing. Where afterwards I'm like, gosh, I can't believe I waited so long.
one of the things that is similar to that is, we operate in many ways in a knowledge economy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in a lot of ways, I'm not a bricklayer. I'm not making stuff with my hands. I don't have that satisfaction from looking at something and go, I did that or I made that, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I take care of my shoes, though, right, and I can see them, in my case, I'll line them up over by my bathtub when they're kind of curing, or, they just look better, and I see them and I go, man, I did that. It just gets, it's a tiny thing. It's a tiny thing. But you get this sense of satisfaction from tangibly having done something with your hands.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think men, our souls are fed by doing.
Totally.
And, I think that in this day and age where so many of us, our jobs are behind computers or desks, like we're not out there chopping wood or building things so tangible. I think it's important as a man, to figure out what those rituals that we can in some ways artificially construct around our life that give us that satisfaction. And, again, I think that, somehow, at least speaking on American culture, there's been this modern phenomenon of like, men thinking, I don't want to fuss, right? That's not like somehow like not fussing with something's manly.
Yeah.
And I would say that really it couldn't be any further from the truth, And I'm not advocating fussing. I mean, like our products are called a Wellington, And the whole idea is that, I don't dress up to prance around and go take selfies, right? I dress up to go out into the day and do something meaningful to part of my work identity.
Mm-hmm.
There's a power behind that.
Mm-hmm.
And the cannon, our icon, really represents that military tradition of, people in the military dressing up, not to go prance around like, Beau Brummel, but to go and actually do something meaningful and significant. And so, again, taking a little bit of time at the beginning of the hunting season to condition your stuff is, part of that ritual that prepares you to go out and do things you love, like shoot shit.
Yep, that's totally right. Well, let's do a quick side by side here, because I want to show what these things look like, essentially before and after. I mean, look at that, like night and day. And after
Phil, how'd you wait so long?
After 24 hours, they'll probably look even better, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That is wonderful.
And they'll be more comfortable. I mean, again, one of the great virtues of a pair of leather shoes like this is their comfort.
Yeah.
And, part of that comfort is in the flexibility of that leather, that natural material. And I think there's such a beautiful virtue to that, right? And again, you don't have to like wax and wane about it, but I love, the whole ethos of what was originally the Hanger Project was the idea that you could afford to invest in quality if you knew how to take care of it. And, I often blame, the baby boomers, right, as really kind of having destroyed, or at least broken the continuum of that narrative, cultural narrative of taking care of things, right? You have one pair of hunting boots, you invest in them, you love them, they're great, and you take care of them.
Yeah, yeah. Buy once, cry once.
Yep, buy once, cry once, invest in, cry twice.
Yeah. Well, listen, Kirby, I've always appreciated your friendship. I love when we spend time together, and I certainly appreciate you sharing your prodigious knowledge on shoe care as we do this episode. It's kind of a little different than what we're used to, but like,
thanks for having me on.
It's great to do this.
It's not often I get to go on other people's channels. So, I appreciate that. Of course, if you're watching, make sure you go subscribe to Kirby Allison.
For sure, KirbyAllison.com.
And we have a hunting series also.
I know. I've watched it all.
Our Suit to Shoot, where we follow the creation of a 5-piece bespoke suiting shoot, all the way from the fabric being woven up in Scotland.
And you got some really sweet guns that you got.
Yeah, well, we used a pair of Purdy's that were accompanied. They were driven up, by the Purdy rep.
Yeah.
And they were chaperoned, if you will, on that shoot.
Some 6-figure guns, probably, right?
No, absolutely.
Yeah, they were unbelievable.
No,
they were beautiful.
And it was fun to kind of do that because, again, one of the things I learned is that, the particular cloth that we used was called thorn-proof.
Yeah.
Right? Because, again, back in the day, before you had all these performance fabrics, thorn-proof fabric was just simply a heavier weight, more tightly woven wool fabric. Yep. And, again, like it was a performance fabric.
Yeah. I love that tradition in the UK. Their hunting tradition is beautiful. And I love their use of wool. Whenever I'm in London, I'll go to some of those outfitters that sell that traditional stuff. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and you see some of that coming back here. And, I think that even within outerwear for hunting, there's an interesting resurgence of saying, well, actually, if you're out, hunting deer, a technical Gore-Tex, outer layer is actually very loud.
It's very loud. And I've actually done sound meters with a branch scratching a Gore-Tex shell versus more natural fiber shells like a wool, right? And it's night and day, right? And we were talking about this earlier, but what's interesting is that I think camo and the camo industry, and listen, Day One Camo is a 35-plus-year-old company. It started by making hunting camo. We had to ultimately move on from the original line just because it wasn't getting the kind of demand that we wanted. Hunting camo has really shifted from function to form to now fashion, right? And what's interesting is most camos, even macro big pattern camos, look like a solid at 40 outside of 40 yards.
Yeah.
Right. And so like unless you're really bow hunting, the actual way the camo looks and how cool that looks when you're at the bar or whatever is functionally irrelevant.
Certainly if you're in a deer blind.
Yes.
Totally
yes.
irrelevant.
Functionally irrelevant in a deer blind. Functionally irrelevant if basically you're a rifle hunter.
Yeah.
Right. Probably very relevant if you're a bow hunter. But it's been an interesting insight.
Yeah, it's interesting to see again this resurgence of quality craftsmanship traditions. Actually,
Totally.
so hey Phil, thanks for having me on.
Thank you, Kirby.
And thanks for everything that you do, kind of within your little corner of the earth and
Yes.
advocating for Made
Yes.
in America. And I'm a big fan of craft and a big fan of America. I love this country. It's a great country, greatest country on earth. And I think wherever possible, we should support Made in America, small business, American small business if you can.
Well, listen, again, thank you.
Yeah.
It's great to have you.
Yeah. Cheers.